Admire the beautiful buildings, check out the great food, drink the mezcal. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Winnie, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about 5 things I love about this beautiful and most underrated city in Mexico. Welcome to Oaxaca. This is the first time you've heard of Oaxaca, don't be dismayed. It was my first time hearing about this beautiful city, and one of the reasons I love Oaxaca is, and I will talk to you about all of those reasons in a minute. But if you're wondering, what is Oaxaca? Where is Oaxaca? Oaxaca is a state in Mexico, in the southwestern part of Mexico. And Oaxaca City, which is what this video is about, is the capital and actually the largest city in the state of Oaxaca. So Oaxaca City is named after the state of Oaxaca as well. If you haven't seen my previous video, you should go check it out. When I was in Mexico at the end of August and beginning of September, I started my trip in Mexico in Cancun, and I took a 2-hour flight with Volaris, which is a domestic carrier in Mexico, very similar to Ryanair if you live in Europe. I took this 2-hour relatively cheap flight from Cancun to Oaxaca. And I arrived in Oaxaca City. I spent only 2 days in Oaxaca, actually. So if there's any con to my whole visit in Oaxaca, it's the fact that I did not spend enough time in Oaxaca. I would definitely recommend spending minimum 5 days to really soak up this beautiful city. And something else that I didn't mention that makes Oaxaca an exceptionally unique location. One is the fact that Oaxaca is actually known as the gastronomical capital in Latin America. Well, if not Latin America, for sure Mexico. The street food in Oaxaca is famous, and I will talk about that in a little bit. Another interesting thing about Oaxaca City is the fact that Oaxaca Central, so the center of the city of Oaxaca, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is obviously, if you've seen pictures, and I will insert loads of pictures as I go through some of these points, is very understandable. It's really beautiful, and they go to great lengths to keep it that way. So yeah, let's get right into the 5 things I love about Oaxaca City. The first is food. Oh my goodness, I don't think I spent a moment hungry during my 2 days in Oaxaca. I ate so much food, and there is so many things to discover. I'm actually going to link a couple of YouTube videos that I think actually have really comprehensive food tour guides for Oaxaca that I think that I definitely leveraged when I was planning my trip, and I would highly recommend you watch after watching this video. Oaxaca is known for its amazing street food. You can walk, you don't have to even go very fast. You walk around the very beautiful streets, you come across a lot of street vendors, restaurants, etc. I tried the chapulines, which are this I don't know if it's like fried or dried crickets and different kinds of flying insects. Really delicious. I know it sounds gross, but it is absolutely delicious, and it doesn't taste like a cricket or an insect, or it doesn't have a gooey inside. They usually come in 2 flavors. At least the flavor that I saw in the market is they either come in chili flavored or lime flavored. They were all delicious. Lime or lemon, one or the other. Really delicious. I tried tejate, and where I can, I will put in pictures, videos as I go along. I tried tejate. Tejate is a very, I would say, rather unappealing looking drink, to be honest. It has a very a white, frothy, foamy thing at the top, and it has a kind of a milky brown color, and it's essentially made from cacao and corn, so it does have a bit of a corn flavor, and it looks a little bit unappealing, but it's absolutely delicious and refreshing. If you're like me and you visit Oaxaca in the summer when it's very hot, it's obviously it's a great way to have a bit of a refreshing drink. Another thing that is very popular in Oaxaca when it comes to food is mole. So many moles, spicy mole, the black mole, which has a bit of chocolate to it. So you should definitely give a try to all of the different cuisine that Oaxaca has to offer. I tried out a lot of the foods that I've mentioned here in the mercados. They have a lot of small restaurants and taquerias around the mercado. So there's Mercado Juanito Juarez, Mercado 20 de Noviembre. If I'm pronouncing that right, my Spanish is not the best. So those two mercados are very popular and very popular and a must visit when you make it down to Oaxaca. Something else I tried also with tlayudas, absolutely delicious. You have this very large piece of tortilla. It's crunchy, and then you have avocado, depending on the kind of protein you had. I had a Milanese tlayuda, absolutely delicious. You can get some of the Oaxacan cheese on it. It's lovely. I have so many videos that I'm going to insert as I go on, but the food in Oaxaca is number one, hands down, the reason to visit Oaxaca. Like I said, I did not stop eating. I ate so much, and you should definitely make it a key part of your trip then. Actually, one of my biggest regrets in the 2 days I spent in Oaxaca was actually not going on a food tour. So if you can, I did like a DIY food tour, and I just wrote some of the must try meals, and then I just went to these places myself. But if you can, I will also I will link in the description bar below a food tour guide I found that I wish I had gone on, but I would highly recommend for you to try out. Oh my god, taking a break from wandering around the markets, Mercado Benito Juarez and Mercado 20 de Noviembre. I didn't think it would be this warm today. I put a sweater on. I brought a sweater with me. I thought it was going to rain, but it's quite warm. But it's a nice kind of warm, right? It's not humid like Cancun. So I'm just taking a bit of a breather with my Tejate, which I am loving. I'm just gonna chill for a little bit. I'm literally sitting on the side of the street. There are so many shops here, and not really anywhere to sit down. So once I've regained my energy, I'm going to continue wandering. My face is so oily, but it's the sun. The sun is hot. A very sunny day today, but I'm loving it, not complaining at all. I finished my Tejate, and then I'll head to the insect place. I don't remember what it's called. Chapalinas? Chapitos? I will set the name. Yeah, I'm going to do that after this. Alright, see you later. The second thing that I love about Oaxaca are the beautifully colored buildings. If in Google for Oaxaca, you're going to be inundated with so many search results with the beautifully colored buildings that line the central of Oaxaca to the city center, which is really where I would recommend you stay as well if when you visit. One of the tours I went on, the guide shared a story with us that actually because the center of Oaxaca is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, I don't remember if it's the government, but I think there's a particular body or organization that actually mandates the color palette that all of the buildings should be painted in, which I think is really interesting. And buildings must adhere to these different colors on the color palette. And for buildings that don't adhere to these, they essentially will put a sign on your building and you would not be able to operate whatever business it is that you may be conducting there. So I thought it was very interesting because the colors are really beautiful and they change every so often. So that's a second reason why I love Oaxaca, just the beautifully colored buildings. There's so much color, everything is so vibrant. There are many coffee shops in Oaxaca City, and all of these buildings are all beautifully colored. I cannot I cannot overstate how beautiful it is to see. It's just really, it just makes you happy. Which brings me to the third thing I like about Oaxaca, which is just wandering around, which is why I think that spending enough time in Oaxaca is a really important thing to do. I wouldn't speed through it like I did for just 2 days. Wandering around is one of the things I love about Oaxaca. I personally, it's a particular preference of mine, but when I'm traveling, I love just wandering around and getting lost unintentionally in some of these beautiful places. And because the buildings are so beautifully colored, there's a lot of beautiful graffiti in certain parts of the central. It's really a joy to walk around and behold all of this beauty. And you know, as you wander around as well, you see sites like the Santo Domingo church, which is absolutely breathtaking. You will come across Zocalo, which is a square in the middle of Central that always has so much happening, live music. We've got buskers, some people are jugglers, people are selling colorful things, there are markets around, there are people sitting around. Like, I just enjoyed so much wandering around Oaxaca City, and just, you know, and because like I mentioned earlier, the city is in a grid-like format, you're not really getting lost per se. As you turn around this corner, like, oh, I was just here like an hour ago. So it makes it really enjoyable if you really just like wandering around. And if you wanted to go outside of the city, there's so many things to see. You could go to Hierve Al Agua, which are these petrified waterfalls that are roughly maybe about an hour away from Oaxaca City. So that's something to go visit if you have enough time and you want to go on a tour. Visiting Mensah-Ogun as well is one that I'd highly recommend. Very close to Oaxaca, you get to see some of the ruins there as well. So Oaxaca has a lot to offer outside of its central, but there are many great sites that I would highly recommend if you are in Oaxaca City. I didn't get to go to Mensah-Ogun, but I went to Hierve Al Agua, and I actually also went to visit a local Zapotec weaving business as well. So getting out of Central, I think, is really helpful to help you better appreciate the many things that Oaxaca City has to offer. One thing that I loved about my trip to Oaxaca City, that I love about Oaxaca City in general, is how safe it is. If you're like me and you've told people that you're going to Mexico on holiday, a lot of the looks I got was, Mexico? Is it safe? Are you sure? Mexico has, unfortunately, a slightly, not completely unfounded reputation for violence, and it doesn't mean that there aren't certain parts that may not be. It doesn't mean that there aren't certain parts of the country that I personally would not go to, but for as many places that I wouldn't go to, there are also many places that I think are relatively safe, and Oaxaca City is one of those. Actually, I believe Oaxaca City is rated the second safest city in Latin America, behind Merida, which is in the Yucatan, in Mexico as well. So I felt absolutely safe. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of this video, but I also I was on a solo trip to Oaxaca City, and I went around during the day, in the mornings, in the evenings, at night, around 11:30 or almost midnight as well on my last night, just trying to soak up everything. And I never for 1 second felt unsafe. I should also say that I stayed in Central, so I would also highly recommend, when you're booking your accommodation and you're looking for a hotel, I think it's so much easier for you to stay in Central. It might be slightly more expensive, but it really is worth it. Other than the safety, there's also a lot of police presence, so you do feel that safety. And staying in Central allows you to be able to get home relatively easily without maybe going through some more deserted parts of the city that may feel a little bit unsafe. But if you stay in Central, I think you'll be absolutely fine. I felt really safe, and I was slightly worried about that, to be honest, because I'd not heard so much about Oaxaca City, but I was absolutely fine. I didn't feel unsafe at all. And yeah, just knowing the fact that Oaxaca City is deemed the second safest city in Latin America, I hope does give you some reassurance, and hopefully my experience adds to that as well. And then finally, my favorite thing about Oaxaca City is the hospitality. I must say that honestly, I don't know how to put into words how warm and very welcoming people in Oaxaca City were. Everybody that I met was so friendly, and I can't say this for a lot of other tourist destinations, but Oaxaca City was really, really warm. I remember that on my very first day there, I was so excited to be there that I woke up super early, around 7:30 or 8 a.m. and I was outside taking some pictures, and literally even the policemen stopped to say hi to me, like, hey, where are you from? I always received a smile when I made eye contact with someone. People were like, hola, hi. It was really lovely. Everybody was so warm, and it made my stay so much better. Obviously, also when you're traveling alone, you're always maybe slightly self-conscious, or just always aware of your surroundings, and having a lot of warmth being sent your way from the locals was an absolute pleasure. That was something that I actually really remembered about my trip, just how warm and hospitable people were. I stayed in a very small hotel, which I would link again to show you the level of hospitality. This hotel was so lovely, very beautiful. I will share videos. Really, really beautiful hotel. And actually, on my last day when I left the hotel, the hotel took a picture of me as I was leaving. So they asked me to stand next to some. I'll see if I can find a picture because they sent it to me. They took a picture of me standing next to the entrance of the hotel, and they actually add these pictures into their guest book, and they sent me a lovely email afterwards with this picture and how happy they were to have hosted me. Again, another testament to how hospitable, warm, and lovely the people in Oaxaca are, and how great it is to experience this as a tourist. I think that's everything I have to share about Oaxaca. As you can tell, it brings a smile to my face just talking to you about Oaxaca City, and I cannot recommend the trip to Oaxaca City enough. There, like I mentioned, there are many coffee shops, many places to eat. It's also really cheap. Like, the bonus reason I love Oaxaca is it's really cheap, really, really affordable. And also, I chose to stay in an expensive hotel, but there are much more cheaper alternatives if you're considering a hostel, if you're considering maybe an Airbnb as well. There's so many things to keep in mind. Like, there's so many ways to reduce your budget, but Oaxaca is really, really cheap, much cheaper than Cancun. Obviously, you can get food for really cheap. So many food recommendations as well, so many restaurant recommendations that I'm going to add all into the description bar below. I really hope that this video was helpful as you continue to do your research about Oaxaca, whether that's for travel that you have coming up, or just educating yourself about Oaxaca City in general. I really hope this video helped to add some context. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found all of this useful. If you did, please make sure you subscribe and you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.